Welcome to the GameDev.tv Community Podcast. I'm your host KB, and I would like to introduce you to industry professionals and people who successfully made their path to the video game industry. I hope that you will enjoy the podcast and get useful tips that will bring you closer to achieving your dreams. Now, let's get right into the podcast.
Welcome to the GameDev.tv podcast.
Hey,
We have
thank
Kat
you.
here today to talk about her learning journey and everything that's to do with animation, painting, drawing, and all that good stuff. And then also, Kat, can you let the fans know a little bit about who you are, and then we'll go from there.
So, hi, I'm Kat. That stands for Katarina, but usually people treat me for Kat. And I'm a concept artist, illustrator, graphic designer from Portugal, usually based in London, but at the time I'm in Finland working. So, yeah, I've been working mostly for animation, but in the past I studied interior and exterior design and also graphic design. So I kind of work in like a lot of like different design things, but animation mostly.
Okay, awesome. And so, how'd you get started with all this? Was this something you were just passionate about when you were younger, or is it something
Yeah.
you grew onto later?
Yeah, I think so. I'm the youngest of 7 siblings, so my family is quite huge. And all my brothers and sisters, somehow they are like design related. So my brother is a filmmaker, I have a sister who's a photographer, all of that. My mom is like the best artist. Since a very young age, she's like always like painting with us and all of that. So I think that's where my design interest comes from. Yeah, definitely. And then for a while, but I didn't really wanted to work in animation specifically or games or anything. I just knew that I like to paint, and then it happened after.
You can't go wrong with that. You like, I knew you wanted to do this, and then you just did it. And that's hard for some people because it's like, hey, I want to do something with my life, but I don't know what to do. And then you kind of had something and then ran with that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but then that's the tricky part. Was like, so, okay, so you wanted to do that, but how did you go from like improving upon it? Because it's a different being like, oh, I just like to draw, and it's like I like to draw, but I want to be really good at it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I always really liked to draw and all of that, but then I started studying interior and exterior design in Portugal. I was 16 or 17 when I applied to that course, and I didn't really draw there anything, but I kind of learned a lot about lighting and interiors and exteriors, and then. After that, when I went to London, I moved to London to study graphic design, and I even stopped drawing for a while. I was just like really interested in books and typography and all of that. And then, but I would like finish university at 6 p.m. Then I would go to work. When I was in uni, I was like working in restaurants and all of that in London. And then I would just draw from like midnight until like 4 a.m. next day. So I think,
What?
yeah, it was a pretty crazy times in London where I was trying to kind of be a graphic designer and an illustrator at the same time. So like during the day, I was mostly doing graphic design, but at night I would just like be painting and all of that. So I was like pretty exhausted at the time, but it was really helpful for me to kind of learn about composition at the same so graphic design and illustration are like 2 areas that they collide really well because of the composition and all of that. So it was like, I think that was the time where I improved the most, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so when did you wake up when you went to bed at 4 a.m.?
No, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Yeah, usually I would miss my first classes in uni
You'd
in the
miss your first
morning.
classes?
Yeah, or I would just be late a little bit. Yeah, it was like crazy.
Gosh,
You
But
can always
well,
live inside the classroom.
yeah.
It
Actually,
works. Been there.
I actually chose that uni because they had the library open 24 hours. So sometimes we would stay there really We would sleep there almost. Well,
Okay, so this is already off to a start I didn't think. So, what made you want to do that like working until 4 a.m.? Because you loved it, or because it was the only time was available for you?
I think it was the only time was available for me, and I loved it at the same time. I would start drawing at like midnight or something, and then I don't know. I was like so passionate at the time about that, and I would stay until really, really late. And that's actually something I really miss nowadays. And the other day I was thinking like maybe I'm just getting old or something because I was like, oh, I really miss the times where I could just like stay awake the whole night painting and all of that. But nowadays I'm like at 10 p.m. I'm dying already. I'm like
Yeah,
completely dead.
I see what you mean. I miss the times where I could sleep 2 hours a day, right? It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. But now it's like if I sleep 7 hours, I'm grumpy. So I really need like 10 hours to
Of
of
course.
sleep. Yeah,
That's crazy. I'm starting to get there. I used to be able to sleep
yeah,
like 4 hours. Now I need like six, otherwise I can't function. But
yeah.
um, but okay. So then from 12 to 4, what were you? You were just drawing to draw. Like, did you have any specific goals in mind when you were drawing?
Yeah, I was painting and drawing a lot, mostly because so my specific goal was like I was building a graphic design portfolio for when I finished uni, right? But I always said that in the first 6 months after uni, I would try to work in animation, just try. And then I was building my animation, no, like my concept art portfolio, just to have it ready for when I graduate, because I never thought it would be possible to work in animation. I don't know why, because I didn't know like a lot of people from animation. I didn't even know how the industry works or anything like that. And coming from Portugal, such a small country, and they don't have like a big animation industry there, I never really believed it would be possible, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So that was the portfolio I was building, like in between uni and all of that. So just for those first 6 months of that, I'm just gonna try to do what I kind of love, and then let's see if I get a job or something. Yeah.
Wow, that's very
Hmm.
inspiring. So you thought it wasn't even possible, but you were like, I'm gonna do it anyways because I love it, and
Yeah.
then you got it to work.
Yeah. I
Wow.
didn't even know how to, find a job or anything like that. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I
So how did
made it.
you take that leap of faith? Like, was it your support you have with your family, or is it just passion
No,
and love for it?
just passion. No, my family, of course, they were very supportive, but
Hmm.
no one from my family is also in the animation industry or anything. I think my mom, she she still thinks that I animate, but I don't. So when she says like she doesn't really understand like the concept of animation, I guess, of concept art or something. But they were very supportive, of course. But I think kind the I think a big game changer for me was like in the end of my course in the third year. We had like some in London. We do like awards, like students. They in the third year they just kind of work to get for contests and all of that to get awards or something like that. And there was a specific brief that it was for animation for Bino. Is like a comic magazine very known in England, and the brief was to do something like character design or whatever. And I was like, oh, nice. This is nothing related with graphic design, so I'm gonna go for that, and I will see like how it is to be like a character designer or something. Blah blah blah. I ended up winning all those awards.
Damn.
Yeah, it
Congrats.
was so good for me because I didn't even believe that would be, possible. And no one in my university for a long time won all of those awards together. So it was like a big moment for me. And I won from the Royal Society of Arts and the DNAD and all of that. And then, and I was like, oh, maybe I can work for animation. Maybe I don't need to to be a graphic designer or anything, even though I love graphic design, but not that much the industry of graphic design. I kind of like more authorial design or whatever. So yeah, I think that was the big change for me. I was like, oh my God, maybe this is possible. Like people kind of like it and what I'm doing, and maybe. So yeah, that was the moment, I guess.
And so for people who don't know, what the Royal Society of Art, like how big is that? How prestigious is that?
It's kind of nice. Yeah, I think they are kind of old in London. I don't know from what time really, but I think it's a good award to have, like a student award. And even the D&AD is like the yellow pencil thing, and it's also kind of nice in London. It was nice. It was very good for me. I met a lot of people, but most importantly, it gave me like a lot of confidence about the character design and all of that.
Awesome. So then after you decided that, hey, you want to do animation now, what did you do after that? Did you go apply for jobs? Did you build your portfolio? What'd you do?
So yeah, I had my portfolio, and then I started like submitting to studios. Of course, 1,000 of like no's and no answers and all of that. But suddenly there was a studio. There was a director from a studio. His name is Tim Sullivan. He works in Carrot Animation in London. And they contacted me. So, hey, Kat, we like your work, blah, blah, blah. Are you looking for a 1 month freelance gig, something there? And I was like, oh, yeah, of course, blah, blah. And I went there. And yeah, I ended up working a lot for, I ended up working almost a year for them. It was just a month, but then it turned out a year. And it was an amazing studio. Carrot is like the best place to start in animation. And they were so helpful for me. And in 6 months, they gave me like so many opportunities to be like directing and all of that. And yeah, and they were really nice. Jamie and Tim and all of them, they were really cool for me. So I think I learned a lot there. But in the beginning it was really tricky because I didn't even know basic things like what is a producer, what does a producer do, and all of that. So I kind of felt like I had to work the double. So every time, imagine we would finish work at 6 and I would stay until like midnight or something, just trying to learn all the terms and things that they talk about there. You know, I didn't even know what's a pipeline, I didn't know nothing. And I was just pretending I knew, but I was just like, yeah, of course. And then in the end, I was just like Googling, what is this? What is that? It was crazy. But nice.
So you didn't know what a pipeline was or what sleep was?
I didn't know nothing, basically.
You're an
I just knew how to paint.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, air quotes. I don't know how to paint yet, but I knew how to pretend to know how to paint, I guess.
Wait, this during the 1 month gig, it turned to 6 months, turned to a year?
Pardon? Sorry?
So during that year at Carrot, you didn't know how to paint? Is that what you just said?
No, of course I knew. I was.
Oh, okay.
I was saying that I still don't know. I just know how to pretend.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah,
no,
well,
I know how to paint.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the first person to come here and say you just need to fake it till you make it, right?
Fake it until you make it.
Or the second, or the third. Probably like the 10th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just have to. Like, you know certain skills, but you don't know everything. So you kind of like fake some parts to make it, and
Yeah.
The important thing is to find a place where you can like get some opportunity and give your all.
So you said you learned some things. What were some of the things you learned?
In Carrot, like overall.
Besides the pipeline and all that stuff.
What a producer does in a show. Well, I worked in a lot of different projects there. I started as a character designer in Child's Farm. It's like a mini series that they have. But then I started working a lot on pitch projects, which are my favorite thing to work on, like visual development and all of that. And well, I learned so many things, basic stuff from character turnarounds, all of that, but also most importantly, how to kind of read scripts and try to start imagining that world and all of that. I gained a lot of experience with that, and it really opened, because the studio is so open. They were really willing to find like different styles and all of that. So in 1 week I would be painting in a really graphic style, and the week after on another pitch project I would be completely painting loosely, like it's ink or normal paints or traditional or something. So, well, I even tried different mediums and all of that, so it was like so good. That's why I keep saying that Carrot is the best place to start a career, because they are not so, there are some studios who they have their style and they are like, oh, you need to kind of copy this and do and just fit our style. But no, they were looking for different styles, and at the time I was also looking for my style, kinda. So, well, it was perfect. I think, yeah, it was amazing.
So what is your style? Because I've seen some stuff on Instagram and ArtStation, and it's so unique, different, and I love it.
Really? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't really have a style, but I think what I like is, of course, I'm really sketchy. That's the only thing consistent in all the things that I do. I usually, I think I don't really have a style, and I never really worried that much about finding a specific characteristic of my work or a specific style. I just when I'm enjoying something, I just keep doing it. Of course, I have inclinations, if this is an English word or no. But of course, I'm always going through certain directions, but I wouldn't say that I have a specific style. At least I don't recognize it yet, but maybe one day I will. But I believe I'm kind of too young to have that already. I want to experiment a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But just looking at it, I would be like, it just uniquely fits, I guess, you. Not that but because it's, if you go through all of your Instagram and ArtStation, and if I now look at somewhere else randomly, I'll be like, oh, that's Cat style, or that's the way Cat does it.
Whoa,
yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, at least that's what I get from looking at it a quick glance, because it's kind of different from other people's art, where it's just the Disney type of art, where it's just you see,
no.
you know what I'm saying? It looks all the same. Yours just looks different from most people that I've seen.
Well,
at least most. Not. I mean, it's probably maybe more of a London thing. I don't know. Your art is very unique. I don't know how to explain it, right? It's hard to your art's just your art.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so I'm curious in the process of you making your art. What do you have an idea where you want to go before you start painting, or does it kind of just happen when you wake up, or because some of these are very, I think, raw. I would say you just intimate, some of them, where it's just oh wow, this, maybe you had a moment, you're I just want to draw this. It's what kind of the process is with your art?
Yeah. You mentioned ArtStation. That's a bit of my oldest work, I think. Instagram is more nowadays sketching and just posting there, I think. Yeah. About the process, well, it depends a lot. If it's because I think I have two versions of Cat, and one is when I'm working, and the other is when I'm just sketching to post on internet or something like that. So the process is completely different. Usually those sketches that you see on Instagram and even on my website or something, they're kind of, just random ideas. If I'm in a park or something and I have my iPad and I start sketching, or around Lisbon, in Portugal. I sketch a lot in Portugal usually when I go there. When I'm working, the process is completely different because, of course, I have deadlines and all of that. But I guess what really inspires me for my personal work is more just people being people, I guess. I don't really have a theme or anything. I just I like random, simple things of the day life. and I'm doing some. I don't have that work online yet, but at the moment I'm working a lot on kind of poor fisherman countries and all of that. Like I'm really interested in really the daily life, a day in a life, and also from kind of more poor villages and fishermen and all that at the moment.
I like that. It's
Yeah,
different.
it's kind of
And
poetic, the life by
yeah,
the.
it's like you're telling a story just with your artwork, nothing
Mm.
else. And then there's also this cool one I saw on Instagram where it's this one girl like trying to do like write an email or something, and it says the majestic world of freelancers.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and then someone was like, "You're the next generation's Leonardo da Vinci."
Wow.
I know, right? That's
Nice.
like again, that's like some stuff where I'm like, that says so much, and
Mm.
that's it. Like, there's nothing more to it but what the people get from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you are the next Leonardo da Vinci, you just don't know it.
No, I wouldn't. Actually, Da Vinci, he had a kind of an eye condition that I have as well. So I really like to say that to people. Oh, I have the same eye condition that Da Vinci and Picasso had. But, well, I wouldn't even try to compare me to that's
That's how
almost like
humble she is.
absurd.
Well, so what is this eye condition? I never heard of
It's
that.
just a thing of well, I don't really know how to explain in English, but it's a way of like lighting absorbing in the eye. Well, whatever. I don't know how to say in English. Let's just call it lazy eye. I don't
Okay, that
know.
works.
Like, but I have a romantic way of explaining it. Okay, that sounds
Well, you
like
can explain it
really.
in Spanish or
I'm
Portuguese.
in Portuguese. Well, no.
Ricardo, you know
I'm.
Portuguese?
I'm
Yeah,
actually
but
half
I don't know
Spanish.
eye conditions. Many.
I.
I was like, maybe you could translate.
Oh no, no, it's okay.
Oh, that's good. But that's crazy. So Picasso and Da Vinci had it?
Yeah, they had it. At least I read it somewhere, and I found it like really funny. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm one day like I'll be like them, but well, no, maybe not.
One day, maybe now. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
You never
no.
know. Time will tell.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
And
have
it,
to shoot for the stars, yeah.
exactly. What else is really cool? I
Mm.
also like the ones that look like a lot like paintings, or the painting ones essentially, because the colors
Mhm.
are really cool. For the one that says "Come in," she said, "I'll give you shelter from the storm."
Oh
The top
yeah.
one just looks. It could be many things. It looks like the sunset, but also looks like an explosion went off, and the person's
Mhm.
just like in the middle of it, saying, "You can't destroy me." At least that's how I perceive it.
Mhm. Yeah, I had fun with that one. That was a time when I was like experimenting a lot with Photoshop and like different brushes and all of that. I was a lot into oils, so I kind of wanted to try to reproduce air quotes the oil like textures and all of that in Photoshop. I guess oil-ish. I guess. Yeah, that was fun. Fun times.
And so, how long does it take to make one of these paintings/drawings?
Oh, really quick. Those paintings, like most of my work on Instagram, it's really quick work. It's like 40 minutes, 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours or 3 hours, but it's really quick. Like all my work online is mostly like sketchy stuff. I don't really, because when I'm working on like big paintings and all of that, usually it's for work, like studio or whatever. So Instagram work and all of that, it's usually 1 hour, 2 hours maximum when I'm like in bed on my iPad and I want to sketch something and I just do it. But well, there are paintings that usually sometimes take a week or something, but that's for studio and
Yeah.
well, with a lot of changes and all that things. But well, yeah.
So you're telling me that the artwork you do on Instagram is easy for you?
It's not. It's never easy. I
Oh,
mean,
okay, it's
sometimes it takes
fast. My bad. Yeah.
15
It's
minutes of sweating and crying, but it's never easy. But usually it's quicker. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Dang, I couldn't imagine doing one of these in like 60 minutes. Let alone even doing it, but like 60 minutes. Dang.
Do you
Okay.
paint
But
or anything?
I've
No.
drawn before. Painted, I'm not. I'm horrible. Like it's not
Okay.
even. But drawing, I'm okay. Okay,
Okay.
as in I don't know. Like we're at the like we're so low, but like I can do okay job. But like even then, I've drawn some stuff before that I to me like pretty decent. So I'm like that's taken me like maybe 2 weeks to do something like that. So when you say like, oh, it took me like 60 minutes, I was like, oh wow, it just feels like hours, and then erasing, and then hours, and then I hated it, and then he did, yeah. That's just wild. But I mean, I'm not a drawer or painter myself. I just like to make games, so that's
yeah.
Amazing.
yeah.
But when you say it takes like 60 minutes, is it from before having an idea to finish the product, let's say, or you have an
Yeah.
idea on your head and you find some time and you sketch it up?
Usually those like that Instagram stuff is I never really have an idea. I start like with colors or something, and I just delete and start again and delete until something happens. I don't really plan anything, which I should, but I plan so much for work that that's just pure enjoyment sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I have imagine if I see like a photo or something, like I have a reference and I think, oh yeah, I would like to draw something like this. That's where it starts or something, but usually I don't plan it. I should. I mean, a lot of people who are like super good on Instagram and social networking and all that, they kind of plan the whole week and then they plan the colors that they're going to use the month. But I don't do anything really. I don't even post that much. Unfortunately, I would love to be more active, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't.
But I guess it's your free time, right? So you just want to
Yeah.
relax. You want to plan your free time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That doesn't work. I've tried that.
Yeah.
Planning your free time, everything just feels like work, especially after Corona and the whole like quarantine. I just
Yeah.
don't know what like everything is so planned. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I actually enjoying it, or is technically am I working to enjoy? And I
Yeah.
don't like
It's
that.
stressful.
Yeah, I played enough MMOs to know how that feeling of am I actually enjoying it or am I just playing because I have to?
That's a
Yeah.
tricky line.
But would you
Yeah.
say that you work better when you don't have a deadline and you can just sit down and do whatever, or when you have a deadline and you have to be productive?
Well, when I have to be productive, usually I'm really productive. And when I don't have, I tend to kind of procrastinate a bit. When I don't have nothing to do, I tend to like just, have so many random ideas. And then sometimes I don't even start an idea or something. Well, I think about if we are talking about productivity, I think
Yeah.
I'm better, yeah, when I'm working, definitely, because when I'm relaxing, sometimes I'm just like listening to music, and sometimes I draw, sometimes I don't. Well, so yeah, I'm better when I'm working, definitely, because you need to hand in things. You just can't have time to procrastinate anything. So
Mhm.
it's so fast paced that, well, it has to be.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like you need to get this done, so you're more focused on getting it done. You're more focused on working on it.
Hmm.
And then I was going through some of your drawings again, and I see that you have this thing called Unfinished on Instagram, and then you did a little sketch of Prince of Egypt with Moses and his wife. I love
Oh,
that movie so much. I didn't
yeah.
expect to see that. I was like, and
Oh,
it
I
looks so
saw that
good.
in the movies. Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
fun. I
It's
slept halfway through it.
What?
I was a
No,
kid. Don't judge
no.
me.
You gotta watch it again. Gotta watch it.
it's on Netflix, I think. Yeah, it's amazing. A beautiful
Depends on the
movie.
country.
Oh
I've had
yeah,
True.
issues with
exactly.
Friends on Netflix.
Oh yeah, exactly.
VPNing through Germany.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. And I also see that one of your favorite books is Walden. I'm curious as to why. Why is that one?
Oh, you know the book?
Yeah.
It's yeah, because you are in insert VPN here. Okay.
Nice. Oh no, we gotta get sponsors. Okay, but yeah. So back to the Walden book. What were you saying?
Whoa, it's amazing. It was one of my favorite first English written in English books, and I really love. I made when I was in uni, as I mentioned before, I was like really into typography and all of that. So in my third year, I bought a typewriter, and I wrote some essays from Henry David Thoreau in the typewriter, and I made a book with them. And I think just like the idea of minimalism and the idea of living in the woods, it just really fascinates me. So I think, and even nowadays when I'm kind of well, we all have like those times when we get like kind of consumists or something. We are just bored and we want to buy stuff or whatever. And I start remembering that book again, and I'm like, okay, Kat, just stop. You have everything you need. You don't really need anything else. And that kind of it's a book for me that kind of brings me a lot down to earth, like what I really need in life. And yeah, I think I do believe in what's written there, and I do believe in some stuff. So that's he mentions. So I guess it's my favorite book, and I always go back to it. It's like gravity. I keep falling there, and yeah, it makes me just think about things.
Yeah, because I love that book too. I think it's one of the first books I read that were like not very self-helpy and like not the usual fiction books I read, and I enjoyed it. And then I put it away, and then I went back home in like last couple weeks, and I found it again, like in one of the boxes, and so I took it home with me in LA. And yeah, so that's when I saw it. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. But no, the book is really good about the fact that like you can live in the woods and be happy. And in fact, the more you spend time there, the less you realize you needed those things back there, like back
Yeah,
in like society, real like back in your real home. And
yeah,
it's just weird because it's like we get so distracted by technology, social media, like demands from people, work. Like, it's just like tiring. And then when you realize you go outside and even something simple as like going to watch the sunset makes you realize like this really just makes me really happy. Even like doing meditation, you realize you don't need anything to make you happy. You just kind of need to be centered
yeah,
and present with whatever that is. And I feel like that's what you get to when you're doing your art. When you just
yeah.
yeah. So
I
that's why you
think
also think your free time art is very good because it just comes from being very present with who you are and what you care about.
Yeah, I think now with the corona and the pandemic and all of that, people got like really aware of how important it is just to enjoy the little and small things. But yeah, the book, when I moved to London, because London is so crazy sometimes. I know you're moving there now, Ricardo, but well, sorry to tell you,
It's
London is
very
a
big, yes.
London is a it's really crazy. And coming from Portugal, I lived by the sea, and now I had a really kind of relaxing life. And London just was so much for me in the beginning. And I think, yeah, the book helped me a lot to understand a lot of things about me and about how important is the environment where you live, like to your mental health and all of that. So, yeah.
Do you have somewhere you go in London to escape all the craziness?
Um, when in the third year I moved to, is it too noisy? Maybe I should close my.
Out of nowhere, yeah. There was like a sounds like
Give me one
blowing or
sec.
something. Okay.
Okay. Um, yeah, London has amazing places. I mean, all the art galleries are fantastic, and also in the third year I moved to the north. I was living near Alexandra Palace. It's like a palace with a park and all of that, and it was really pretty. So I would go there a lot of times when it was not like pouring and raining. I would go.
So never.
Never, exactly. So then I had to move out from London because, well, never could. No, London sometimes in the summer it's okay. Sometimes it gets a bit sunny for 2 hours or so, so you can kind of.
Yeah, I can see
Enjoy.
it's pretty far from the center. Like my
But
main concern actually is like having to stay for like 50 minutes in a metro every day. Like that's not something I want to do.
yeah, with the corona it's stressful, but in the past, so when I was working in carrot animation, for example, I would take almost 2 hours commute there. So I was going from the north down to the south. So I would just like travel the whole London at 6 a.m. almost. But the tube is fine. It's like it's so quick you don't even notice the time passing.
At
2 hour
6
metro.
a.m., if you're sleeping like 3 hours a day as you were, you probably slept all the way.
Yeah, it was quick.
You're like, yep, that was my life. Dang, how did you do this without sleeping? Man, this is wild.
Uh, well, I would sleep. I would go to bed. When I was in the studio, I would go to bed quite early, but no, it would be okay. Like I would also sleep in the tube, so yeah.
There you go. You just got sleep when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're younger, you endure more. Like
Yeah, kind
I
of.
used to take an hour and a half by car to work as well. Now I
Yeah,
walk 7 minutes to work. Like that's
yeah.
kind
I
of a
think
big difference.
quality of life really is like living close to your job. At the moment, I'm in Finland, as I mentioned, and I can see my studio from my window almost, and it's like so good. I wake up like at 9:15, and I need to be there at 9:30, and I'm still there. So it's pretty
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
I know how that is. Yeah.
I like how you said quality of life depends on like how close you are to the commute, because it can be rough when you have like a really long commute. It can also be nice because you get to like think about things. But every day though,
Yeah, the issue is the everyday part for sure.
yeah,
It's too much, yeah. But now studios are so open to even here where I'm at the moment. Sometimes you can just like say, "Oh, I'm working from home today," and you just work from home. And I think hopefully after the pandemic, studios will still be kind of open to that, like so people can just go there 2 times a week and then stay home for 3 days or something. Oh, that would be so amazing, really.
I
To have
think
an in between home and studio would be fantastic.
Yeah, and having the option as well, because one of the issues I have if I'm working too much from home is sometimes it's hard to distinguish between like your workplace and
Yeah,
leisure in general.
so
So
difficult. Yeah, I was freelancing the last 2 years with all the bad habits a freelancer can have, like working too much and just be working all the time, because if you're home you're working, right? So now that I'm in the studio, I'm kind of getting my times again. Like now it's time just to stop and enjoy. Sometimes I even leave my computer there just to not have the thing of like opening files here at home and all that. So yeah, I get it. It's so difficult.
yeah, that's one thing I want to fix once I move. I want to have my work PC and my PC.
Yeah.
Because currently I finish work at like close two windows and game on the same computer.
Do you work both of you work for games?
I'm
No.
well.
Okay.
Technically, I work for GameDev.tv, and then I'm working on becoming like a gameplay programmer or game designer for a game studio.
Oh, amazing.
And so then, yeah, and then Ricardo's just a genius programmer.
I'm currently, well, until next Friday, I am a developer just for like code analysis tools for the insurance industry. And now
Okay.
I'm moving to application security.
But
Amazing.
we've done game stuff before. Like we did a game jam, even though it was horrible. We worked on games together. And then the dream is to one day have like our own little studio and do our own thing and make our own games. But
Fantastic.
but that's one day. We're getting there. And that's why I like having all these guests on because it helps explore like the creative side, how some people just do the creative work that they do. Because it seems like the ones that I enjoy the most are the people who just kind of like you say, They just do it. They don't plan it, like, because you don't plan it. And I wonder too if like Leonardo or Picasso didn't really plan. They were like, I'm just feeling like this today, and I'm gonna make a
Oh,
masterpiece on accident, basically.
I don't know about that. I think actually, I think the big secret for an amazing painting is planning, because like you need to know exactly where the light comes from, the colors, everything. I really think they probably planned everything. I'm not sure. That's why maybe I don't do big paintings because I don't plan it. No, so when I really want to make air quotes a good painting, I feel like I need to plan. Otherwise, it's just like, well, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. But the first step that I would give like a student an advice or something is just like plan the thing you're doing. Maybe, I guess.
Maybe
Yeah, but
plan.
one thing I find interesting in terms of like painting and drawing, like it's something that everyone knows kind of how to do, at least on a very basic level. So you can see like a huge difference between like someone like me and someone who like can do it for a living, you know. I'm not gonna show any drawings because I don't want to hurt your eyes.
Oh, kind of, but I really believe anyone can do it if they like. I don't believe in like talent, like illuminated heads that they were born a genius. No, I believe like it's a lot of hard work. And if you like from today, you really start, working on it and in a right way, in a logical way, not like in a because sometimes we spend so many hours trying to learn something, but we are not really being productive or anything. We are not even learning. We're just pretending or something. If you really go to the right direction, I believe anyone can paint. I really believe in that.
Wait, hold on. We need to go on with that to go deeper into that. So you said that a lot of people are pretending to learn. So what do you mean? Like they? What's like
Oh,
a
I guess,
simple example? Like taking the tutorials and just copying what the tutorial does, or
yeah, copying is important
okay.
in the beginning, but then if you I see a lot of artists just repeating the same concept or the same character every single time, and I don't really believe they are learning anymore. I think they're just like repeating that. Of course they're becoming well, people say, oh, but they are becoming experts in that. But well, yes, they are an expert, but it's time to do other things as well. So for me, like, if you spend 10 years with the same character, only that character, but with different hairs or different, well, I don't know. I don't really, well, I do respect it, but for me, because I'm really based on experimentation and I really love to try different things, I don't think that's learning. I think that's repeating a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the original idea of the jack of all trades, because it got tainted over time. The original idea is jack of all trades, master of one, not master of none, right? It's the idea that you can do everything. Like you can repair your car, you can fix a table, but you have like your profession that you're actually very good at.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
definitely.
key, yeah. Because everybody's, it's weird because it's like if you try to be a master at everything without choosing one path, then you become the whole thing, jack of all trades, master of none. But if you master something and then use that knowledge of how you learned that to master other things, then you become the jack of all trades, master of one. So the key is to master something because it's not really just learning that one thing; it's mastering how to learn,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
really
definitely.
hard. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so yeah. And then, so what advice would you have for people who are stuck in that kind of like vicious cycle of learning but not really learning, like you said? Like they want
It's
to go past that and actually learn.
I think my advice for anyone, even for myself, is like experimentation. It's like do a lot of stuff, don't get stuck with an idea. Because sometimes imagine I like a certain art style or something. I'm like, oh, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. But sometimes maybe you really want to do it, but you're not enjoying it, doing it. You just have this idea in your mind that you want to do that kind of stuff, but maybe inside yourself maybe you don't really want, So I think the most important is like the journey, like people say, is like the journey and not the final. So have fun first, like try different stuff, do a lot of things, maybe do even things that you didn't know that you would have fun doing it. And then, well, I think one day we will find like the thing we like to do or something. But at the moment I see a lot of like, what's weird is like I see on the internet a lot of kids like 16, 17 years old or 18 worrying about finding an art style, and I'm like, oh my god, like find yourself first. You're 16 or 17, like how do you want to find an art style if you don't even know who you are? And I'm 27 and I don't know who I am. That's why I don't have an art style yet. Maybe I'll be 62 and I will still be looking for myself and for my art style. So my advice is not worry too much about that. It's just like enjoy the process, because like if you die tomorrow, you will be like today struggling with an idea of who you want to be instead of just having fun of what you can be now, I think. So experiment. That's my advice.
That's beautiful advice. My
Thank
goodness.
you.
Yeah. Agree.
Right? Wow.
That's something I see. Like a lot of people want to get to the destination,
Yeah.
and like the best thing you can do is think like, how do I get there?
Yeah.
Not when do I get there, and
Yeah.
just go
Exactly.
towards it. Doesn't matter if it takes 10 years or 20. Well,
Yeah.
ideally it takes less than like a full lifetime.
You would hope so.
Hopefully, if you're enjoying the journey, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like the movie Soul from Pixar now, that sometimes we have the idea like, I don't know if you've seen the movie. Have you seen?
I
Not
haven't
yet.
seen it, but I heard how
Okay,
beautiful
so
it is.
he kind of really wants to be in a jazz band, and he kind of all of his life is based on that imaginary idea of like the perfect job, let's say like that. And by the end, he gets the job. He gets the gig. He's in the jazz band, but he's like, oh, so this is it, And that happens a lot also in animation and in our industry, because like we kind of, the big studios like Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, we all want to go there. But then when you get there, you're like, okay, nice. And what else? And then you realize, oh, I lost the 10 years of my life just like dreaming and dreaming and dreaming about this and not thinking about anything else. But a job is a job. Of course, we always talk about dream jobs, and we are so lucky. At least I feel really grateful that I got the opportunity to work in kind of dream jobs. At the moment, I'm working on a TV show for Nickelodeon. And well, 10 years ago, I would be like, fuck. Sorry, I don't know if I can say this, but
No, you can.
I really wanted to do that. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But, imagine if I would have like stayed the past 7 years just like obsessed with this idea. I wouldn't even enjoy the process as much. And sometimes when you get obsessed with the studio, you don't even get there because you just like your art gets so influenced by them that they feel you will not add nothing here because you are exactly like us, like you just copied our style. So usually studios from what I've seen, they are looking for someone who can work on their style but also add something to the studio. So don't try to copy exactly what they are doing because they have 4,000 employees already doing that. So if you want to get a job, try to add something to the company instead of just copying what they do. So that's what I think, at least.
Wow, that was great. And so I'm curious, so what was the job, the animation project you're doing for Nickelodeon, if you can say?
it's been announced. It's for a TV show named Best and Bester. It's like a series, 52 episodes. It's really fun. It's based on like 90s design style, and the design is really amazing. Wow, the art director is Louis.
All right.
The art director
Noted.
is amazing, and the art is like fantastic. So yeah, it's looking really cool. It will be out next year. I'm looking forward to it. We just started the second episode. We are doing one episode a week, which is kind of like, quick and nice. So it's fantastic. Yeah, it's for Nickelodeon, but I'm working on Gigglebug Studio in Finland. Well, it's co-produced.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited? Like, do you feel like, I know you just said, getting that dream job, but like, does it feel like different now that you work in Nickelodeon too? Or is it just like, nope, not a studio, because you're so, I guess, in tune with you're so self-aware about what you want?
It's amazing. It's really, first of all, it's really cool for me because, as I mentioned, I was working freelancing a lot, and it's nice to be on a production on a pipeline. Now that I know what that means.
You
For,
made it.
I made it.
See, it was worth it.
It's nice to work on a full project from the beginning to the end. So I'll be working on that a year. So it's also nice to be on the same project for a while instead of being jumping around as I was last year. So yeah, it's fantastic. And of course, it's like even the art is very Nickelodeon and all of that. So I kind of sometimes I'm painting and I'm like, oh wow, this is, the 10-year-old Katarina would be like so hyped with this. Like you're gonna be on like Nickelodeon and all of that. So it's kind of nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, congrats, because that's amazing. Working Nickelodeon. The only time I ever want to work for Nickelodeon is to work more on Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's my favorite show. So
Fantastic.
maybe one day you'll work on that. Who knows? Because they have the new
Of
Avatar
course
Studios.
you
So
will. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. So let's see. What is the difference? Okay, but let me ask one more thing. Did you find sleep after getting Nickelodeon, the job? Did you?
Yes.
Nice.
Actually, in Finland, I've been struggling a bit to sleep because there's no night here at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's like, what time is it?
Wait,
It's
what? Oh
midnight,
yeah.
and it was so weird for me, like, because sometimes it's like 4 a.m. and it's like sun everywhere. And I wake up like,
Same
oh my
here.
God, I need to go. It's 9, it's not, and it's 4 a.m. And I'm like, oh God, I've been struggling a bit with that. But yeah, when we are working on like series and all of that, it's kind of more relaxing because I feel, at least I feel like it's a bit more relaxing because usually the producers, they kind of organize all your time very well, and you know exactly. I mean, if you follow the deadlines and all of that, you should have time for everything, which is nice.
Good. And then now for working with Nickelodeon, have you learned anything since working
Yeah,
there?
of course. Of course, like a lot of Photoshop tricks even, and I've been doing also some color scripting and all of that, so I'm definitely learning a lot about colors, and mostly because it's a new style. The show is not like my normal way of painting or anything, so I'm definitely learning a new style. I think in every project I work, it's kind of just learning a new style and learning new ways of painting to fit the project and all of that. That's why I also advise a lot of students to just experiment a lot, because if you're going to work on like for 1,000 different clients and with different styles, you need to be able to paint differently every time, right? So this summer I did some work for Google and for Amazon Prime, and the styles were so different from each other. Like you really need to be able to kind of change completely the way you paint, change completely your medium even sometimes. So yeah. To adapt is important.
That's true.
Yeah, if you can only do one thing, you really have only two options, right? You either work for yourself and hope it works, or
Yeah.
you find the perfect job straight away and stay in
Yeah.
it forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it even possible finding a perfect job?
No.
No. Yeah. I think a job is a job, and it will never be perfect. But well, in animation, I've been kind of lucky actually since I started, and I never really hated a job that I had. Never. I always really loved it, and that's why I'm still working on animation. I think at the moment that I'll start hating it, I'll probably just change the area or something.
I mean, it's good. You probably should, right? If you're not enjoying it.
Yeah, if you're like for 3 years working on different projects and you hate every single project, this may be a sign that okay, maybe it's time to go for architecture or something, whatever.
Yeah, can't be a painter anymore. Got to do architect.
Yeah.
Why not? And
Why
so,
not?
I was gonna say something, but I lost it. Oh, okay. So, how are you working on finding yourself? Because you said people should find themselves and find their style. Like, how can they do that? And what are some examples maybe you've done to like help discover yourself?
Um, Working on finding, well, I didn't really find myself or anything, but well, I don't know. I think every day I find a different Katerina, a different cat.
Hmm.
Well, I think the important part is like, well, what really helps me is always, because of course I live outside of my home, right? Like Portugal. So what really helps me is to go back there and remember, like, oh, this is me, like I have a place. Because when you live a lot of time far away from home, you are always a different person, even if you don't want to, because this is not my mother language even, so I can't express myself the way I would express myself in Portuguese. So every time I feel kind of lost, I just go back to Portugal, and I kind of, oh, okay, this is me before everything, just with my mom and with like the same neighborhood and the same people. But well, finding yourself is like an everyday job. Every day you need to find yourself. Like, it's not a thing. I don't believe that has an achievement like, oh, today I found myself for a lifetime and now that's me and everything is like stable and cool. No, I think like today I found myself. I don't know, where did I find myself today? Well, today we had a Brazilian party at my studio. So maybe I found a more Brazilian Catarina, but tomorrow I might find myself eating a sandwich or something. So you just need to find yourself for the next 24 hours. Then you can go sleep, you get lost, and then you wake up and you're like, that's my job for today, is finding who I am today. Not for a lifetime, just today.
That was so poetic.
Oh God, and
It's
it's
funny
really
you say.
late here, so my brain is already getting in the poetic part, like the dreamy Katerina, and not the.
That's funny. You built yourself so anytime it's like 12 a.m., you're like, all right, time to work. We'll get
Yeah.
sleep. But I love when
Yeah.
you said you found yourself eating a sandwich. It's like you're playing hide and seek with yourself. And you're like, where
Well,
am I today?
yeah, flavors and foods is really sometimes, when you're like eating something that you don't eat since your childhood, and you're like, oh my God, I remember this flavor, this smell. That's enough to find yourself for, like candy or something that you used to eat a lot, and then you didn't eat that for 10 years, and now you just bite it again and like, oh, okay, this is Katerina for like 14 years ago, where she's like just chilling and enjoying life. That's, yeah, food is also good to find yourself. Just eat.
I love that advice. Just eat.
Just
Just.
eat.
Yeah, recommended. What?
If you ever feel lost, just eat a sandwich and I promise you'll feel like full again.
Why not, right?
Why not?
Ricardo's shirt. Why not? Awesome. Well, so this has been so much fun. And so near the end, I usually ask the guests about a challenge. So you have like a short challenge you can give to the listeners. It could be anything related to art, finding yourself, whatever you can think of. And no rush, you can take your time.
Oh, so I should challenge people to do things, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Ideally related to something. Like
Okay. So
development, art, whatever.
with art.
Life.
Okay.
The universe. Everything.
Food.
With food. Actually, the first thing I would say is like if you want to find your style and yourself, maybe try to cook a meal that you don't eat for ages ago and just like cook it and enjoy it, and then write or paint what did you feel about it and how did you feel about it. That's my challenge. Cook a meal and describe it or paint it.
It's beautiful. Now I'm just going to need to cook some chicken nuggets and then paint about it.
American people. No, I'm joking. American. Well,
So many or cheese sticks. Oh, that's my childhood right there.
Yeah, that's good. That would go now.
But yeah, so this has been so much fun, Kat. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you on. There's so many gems and stuff that I didn't expect to hear but needed to hear. And I just want to hand the mic to you to end it off with any last minute shout outs, any last tips, and anything else you want to leave us with. And thanks for coming on, Katerina, and mic's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This was really fun. And yeah, the only thing I want to say is like, have fun, experiment a lot, don't worry too much, and listen to good music, forget bad art, and just like chill and have fun.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. You can find all courses at GameDev.tv or in the show notes at a discounted price. Get started with your game development journey today.